Alright everyone, so here is my little contractor line, contractor line professional tools generator. This is as I found out, is a Yamaha clone generator. Um, it has a Yamaha engine, or a clone Yamaha engine in it. These come under a lot of different names, Harbor Freight. Some of them have slightly different front panels, but they're essentially the same exact thing. Um, and the two cycle, little 2 horsepower engine. I've seen them labeled anywhere from. I'm doing a video. You need to go, or at least be quiet. I've seen these labeled anywhere from say 900 watts. Even there's a Yamaha version that's 650 volt amps. I don't know what that equates to in watts. Um, there's a 950 volt amp version of the Yamaha too. Um, this one says it's 1250 watts, but I can tell you I have another little generator that's a 4 cycle that says it's 1000 watts. It'll run my window air conditioner, my freezer, my refrigerator. This will run my fridge and my freezer, but it will not run my uh, window air conditioner. So I don't think this thing puts out anywhere near 1250 watts. My guess is 8 to 900 watts is about its peak. Still a handy generator. It's very fuel efficient. I got this generator on Craigslist, and it didn't run very well when I got it, and I traded it for an old window air conditioner during a heat wave that I didn't need anymore because I had gotten another one. Last winter I was trying to start it to charge up some batteries, and the recoil starter broke. So I thought this is going to be real easy. You go in here, rewind the cord, put it back together. But I'm thinking that it might be something a little worse because I still see the knot in here. Like the knot has slipped out of something. The cord hasn't actually broken. So we're going to take this apart and see what's inside. Now to do this, it looks like we got to take off these 2 bolts here. There's 2 on the other side. And then there's 4 bolts, and 1 being under the gas tank here, to take this starter cover off. And you'll want to make sure that your fuel line is set to the off position, and then you'll have to disconnect this fuel hose. And this may actually be easier to do with the tank off, but I can get my fingers in there and get it loose. Okay, and then once that's loose, we'll go ahead and take the tank off here. And I'm seeing something doesn't feel right back here. There's a piece that's loose. It looks like something may be broken back in there, so we'll see. I haven't had the tank off of this one before. When I got it, it just needed the carburetor cleaned up, degummed a little bit, and I was able to do that from the bottom here. So I'll take the 2 bolts off on the other side here. I'll turn this around so you can see where those 2 bolts are as well. Those 2 bolts are just right here. And you see how this is hit? And this is actually bent over a little bit. It's almost like this has gotten hit or dropped and the tank shifted over on it. So there may be some broken stuff under here. We'll see. It says peak power 1250 over here. Yeah, it must be really peak. I don't think, I think that's kind of a lie. So then our tank just lifts off. And I'm looking under here and I see coil going over to my spark plug. There's a broken part right there. There's a bolt missing from the top of this starter. That tells me this has been off before. It looks like there may be a crack in this post over here. Those are the posts that hold your gas tank on, and that's also what you carry it with, so those are kind of important. But now we just take these other bolts off around the recoil starter. Now I do have some aluminum brazing rods that we may be able to use. Wesley! Make noise somewhere else! That's it. I'll take these other bolts here. I'm sorry if you hear my 4-year-old in the background. He's just out there running around the backyard talking to himself, playing with his plastic baseball bat and his plastic saw. doing what 4-year-olds do, I guess. So I'm going to take this bottom bolt out down. Oh man, I just knocked some bolts down behind my workbench. And by the way, I'm doing this all in my solar shed. All this lighting in here is from my solar panels and my battery. So we see there's the engine. There's this piece right here that is broken off. And I have some aluminum brazing rods. So we'll see if we can't clamp that down somehow and braze it. And I see that this one has a small crack right here too. So if I can braze that one ahead of time, that might help prevent it from breaking. And that looks kind of an important one because your spring governor runs off of this big screw here. So you wouldn't want that one to break off. That looks like the engine turns over okay there. So now on the recoil starter, let's take a look at that. It looks like this is definitely broken. Now, I tried to start this in some really cold weather this winter, and I think that kind of did it. Looks like this reaches out here and hits one of those parts and catches it, and then you see back down here, this is really just all broken out, and there's supposed to be a flat piece that goes all the way around here. So I'm going to need that new piece in order to fix this. So what I'm going to do is go in and look around on the computer and see what kind of parts I can find for this.
Alright folks, so it came time to try to find that starting pulley for that plastic piece that was broken. And I want to show you like what I did to find it and get a really good deal on it. A lot of times just because you find the part somewhere, you can actually get it a lot cheaper if you do a little searching and do a little research online. So the first place I came to here was GeneratorGuru.com. Now GeneratorGuru.com has just about all the parts for all these different Chinese generators, and he's kind of a last resort as to where I'll buy parts when I can't find them anywhere else, because he'll probably have the right parts. However, I find that his prices are a little on the high side. So a lot of times I will try to do some research and see if I can't find it somewhere else a little bit cheaper. So when you come to his main website here, you'll just go ahead and click Enter Parts System, and you'll see a list of all of the different types of generators. You know, you'll see like even here Chicago Electric, which is the Harbor Freight stuff. But they made these generators, and a lot of these Chinese generators, under a ton of different names, and they're exactly the same generators, probably even made by the same places in China, just different names on them. Mine is a contractor line, so we'll go up here to C's, and let's see, contractor line. Okay, mine is the Gen 1250, and I see a list of all these parts, and you know, even like the DC cable kit, $23. You know, it's a lot of money. So, but it's a great place to see what the part is that you're looking for, and if you know if it's available. So I scroll down through here, and I'm looking through all these different parts, and there's the recoil cord, the recoil handle, but they don't have the little plastic part that goes inside of this unit, so you have to buy the incomplete unit. And you see that it's $30.82, and I'm not sure how much the shipping is going to be, but it's probably going to be kind of expensive. It's been my experience. So I'm probably looking at $45 by the time I pay shipping, which is, you know, more than half the cost of the unit on sale at Harbor Freight. So I'm not going to replace a recoil cord for more than half the price of the generator new. I would be better off to wait till it goes on sale, buy a new one, and put this one in the corner for parts. Of course, I would like to fix it. So the next thing I did is I headed over to eBay, and on eBay, here I've done a search for Yamaha ET950. When I first started this, I just did a search for like generator, weak recoil starter, and I come across and I started seeing some in the list that were for a Yamaha ET650, and so I searched for Yamaha ET950, 650. I guess they're the same thing, they're just a different rating. And you see there's a whole bunch of parts here for that, and they all look like they're the parts that would fit on mine. So I'm thinking like maybe mine is like kind of like the Yamaha. And as I come down through here, I'm seeing gasket sets, and eventually I scroll down a little farther and I see a recoil starter for $17.28, and it has the dimensions on it as well. So I go out and I look at mine and I measure these same dimensions on it, and sure enough, mine matches these exact dimensions. The 52 millimeters for the centerpiece, 208, and then 204 between these two holes. So I'm thinking like that's probably the same thing, but what if it doesn't work, right? And what if it is the wrong one, even though it looks like it or something? I was like, so let me go and look at a picture of a Yamaha ET950. So I went over to Google and I did a search result and looked at some images, and then pop up this picture and there's a Yamaha ET950. After doing a little bit of asking around on some blogs and stuff, I actually found out that Yamaha originally made this generator. It was they paid for it to be built in China, and then a lot of the factories in China got the designs for it and started duplicating it under a whole bunch of different names. It kind of leaked out. This one's a 220 volt version, because if you look at the plug with the slanted things, but it's basically the same generator. So I figured the recoil starter probably will fit just fine, and I did go ahead and order this, and it did come in. And so we're going to go back out to the shed here in a little bit, and we're going to try to put this on, but it certainly looks like exactly the same starter and parts. And they have a lot of other good deals on here. Here's another piston ring kit, or piston kit with the ring and the clips. Fuel levels, new carburetor for $16, fuel shutoff valves, cylinder heads, reed valve. So a lot of these parts are relatively inexpensive here on eBay. They all look like they're exactly the same parts for my generator, and exactly the same for the Harbor Freight and all these other clones of this particular Yamaha generator. So it's probably a really good idea, and I probably will just, every payday or so, when I have a little extra money, I'll order an extra part. I'll probably get a gasket set and the coil, and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of set that stuff in a box to the side, and then I have some extra parts to fix my generator, because if the shit hits the fan, eBay and Harbor Freight might not be available to me. I may have to hunker down on my property and not go out, for at least a little while, and I might not have the opportunity to go and track down parts. So I think having an extra coil and a few of the more common failure parts on the shelf would be a real good idea. Anyway, now we'll go back out to the shed, and I will show you how we're going to do the repair on this generator and replace this recoil starter.